Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Garage Talk series. Today, we have an absolutely special guest. We go many, many years back, and even some of you might know this gentleman. Either way, this is Danny Gibson. Now, we reign from the north years and years ago, all the way to Toronto. We're going to be touching base on these facts. A man that needs no introduction, but here he is. Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the call, G. Appreciate it. Looking forward
I
to it,
really
man.
appreciate you taking the time, man. As you know, I really want to get down with people with such life experiences that we've had, the trials and tribulations, all the way to the success stories. And I've been chasing you down for a while. I really wanted to pull you in on this one because I know your story carries weight, and somebody else, just one person, at least if they heard your story, could definitely change their world. And that's what this is all about. So once again, I appreciate you taking the time for this. So what have you been up to?
Man, I mean, a lot, it's been a pretty crazy last year, last 10 years, last 20 years. It's
Yeah.
been a pretty crazy roller coaster, but I mean, as far as the Coles notes go, last 12 months have been pretty life-changing for me. Had a pretty big career transition over the last few years where I decided to kind of stop with the actual creative services and focus more on my formal education and like business development and marketing. So now I'm working strictly with like design and creative agencies to help them bring in more business. So helping them with lead generation, marketing, sales, things like that. I had an opportunity for a new job it was about 3 years ago. Kind of took a side gig, I guess you could say, while I was operating the agency, and I got to do like a chief marketing officer position with another agency out of Seattle, and they were doing lead generation, and it just kind of had my aha moment. A little bit of a light bulb went off, and watching people do something that you're like, I think I could do this better, and I could do it for an audience that I'm truly passionate about. Yeah, so since then it's been really good. I mean, it's had its ups and downs. Obviously, learning new things and dealing with an industry like cold email can be a little interesting and stressful, and banging your
Yeah.
head off the computer screens sometimes trying to make sense of what's going on. But things have been really good. It's been awesome. I look at it now and how much I've grown and kind of come out of it, and it's been interesting because sales
Yeah.
was never anything I liked. I mean, I never really enjoyed sales. I always kind of hated vacuum salesmen. That's how I pictured what a salesperson was. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah. Snake oil.
yeah, snake oil. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it, and it's, when you change that mentality where sales is not, you're not trying to sell something, you're trying to help people, and it really just
Oh,
changes everything, right? So
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
good, man. I love what I do now. I feel like I'm more in a position where I've wanted to be recognized as this person. Before I always enjoyed doing creative services, but for me, I think I was more of a hobbyist than I was someone who wanted to do it and provide those services. I enjoy photography and design, but I like to do it just for myself. It's not really something I wanted to provide as a service, but it allowed me to learn so much about the industry over the years, doing video, web design, and all that kind of stuff. And so I know my clients, I know their business, I know what they're going through, and I'm a great person to partner with for them and help them bring the new business into their agencies.
Yeah, you hit on a few points there just in that structure. Entrepreneurship, you said it when you've been to a few places, I can do this better. And that is a signal right there. That's an entrepreneurial spirit. And when you have actually assessed what you're trying to go through and you can actually do it better, that's knowledge, that's wisdom right there. But let's go back. I've always known you to sell yourself, man. And selling, that's what it's always been. And throughout our conversation throughout the years, you always said you didn't like sales, but in all honesty, we're selling ourselves
Yeah.
every day, whether it's just a small interaction all the way down to your services. Now, you're always creative. So tell me what happened throughout those years that actually made you engage in such business, It's like,
I think a
you know,
lot of it
the,
stemmed from it. Honestly, man, I was always like, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, I was always into the arts in high school, right? Like, I never had an ambition to take it into my life as a career. But then when when I went back to college and I started taking, business and stuff like that, I needed to make money. And I ended up just kind of we started with the clothing store. I opened the little retail clothing store and had that and was into fashion and design. And then the Henry's next door, I went next door, bought myself a camera and I got into photography. And then because I needed to build a website for my little business, I got into web design. And it was like a lot of things just sort of happened out of necessity, right? Like it was like just sort of, I mean, luckily I had the knowledge and the know-how to pick up some of these skills, but a lot of it just sort of came from the necessity part of it. And then when you start working with clients, especially when you build a website for a business, it almost happens naturally that you start to help them with like lead generation and marketing and sales and stuff, because they're asking you questions about their website, because a website is such a, it's a first point of contact with a lot of people. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind
yeah, yeah.
of, that's sort of the business sort of just happened naturally. I guess it was just, there was never really a moment where I sat there and I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to be a web designer and I'm going to start a business and then I'm going to be a marketer. And it was like, I don't know. It just kind of all happened.
But if you absolutely love what you do, bro, you don't work a day in your life. So maybe I'll rephrase this entire question. Who was Danny before the businesses? We're into sports, physical activity, and selling yourself, and that you always had a grand representation of yourself. And let's face it, when we say the word business, it's kind of boring. And when we dive deep inside of what you actually do, it can get rather confusing. I think my viewers that already know you want to know, who is Danny before the businesses and why is it exploding?
Before the businesses, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't even know if there was a day. Like, I think there was always business. It was just like
I know, the 14 years
my,
old slinging groceries, man. You were always on the hustle. I get it.
yeah, my entrepreneurial spirit is kind of like I think it was just always there. That fire was always there. It was, I've always been a very experimental, certainly a massive risk taker, which has definitely
Yeah.
posed some challenges throughout my life and gotten me into trouble. But
Yep.
I mean, my risk taking has also opened up a lot of doors. As I've become more mature as a business owner, I've definitely become more calculated in my approaches and the things that I do. But like, before the business, I don't even really remember the Danny before the businesses, because I can still remember like, mowing lawns for like my dad's friends in the neighborhood. It's a funny question to really explore, because like even when I had a normal job, I never felt in place. Like when I was working for companies or had
Yeah.
a job, I never felt like I was doing what I should be doing. And that sometimes created friction because, again, back to that, oh, I think I can do that better. I would see my bosses do stuff. And it was like, I can do that better than they can. And
Yeah.
it creates this like weird situation where I almost can't, I don't want to say I don't respect the authority at work, because that's definitely not me. I mean, I definitely respect authority, but I think it's when you see someone that's doing something that you're like, they're not doing that right. Kind of
Questionable.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard, man. I never really thought of like who I was before the businesses, because I think I always was the businesses. And the whole selling aspect, it's funny because like I never, like I say, I hated selling. I still kind of do the idea of selling, but
The
like you
enigma
say,
of it.
we
Yeah.
were always selling. And I think that once I realized that, because you and many other people around me have always used to tell me like, man, you're an awesome salesperson. What are you talking about? And it's like, I was like,
Yeah.
really? I'm like, I can't, it's just not, but I think it was always that closing part that makes it feel more unnatural and like not so normal for me. But once you change that mindset. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like before the businesses, I think I've always been the businesses, and I just don't know if there's ever been another side of me.
Even in your chaos, it was always controlled. You always had that
Yeah.
level and that sense of control and direction. I'll bring it to this spot here. You said you don't really remember the childhood dreams and the aspirations. Since our show is the spirit of repair, I want to extrapolate your knowledge on how you repair, because you were always on the grind, like fight or flight. And I can relate to that. You know me very well. So the engagement of wanting to be self-sufficient and always being kind of stigmatic at what you see other guys' processes. You build your empire around that. And like I said, it's probably an entrepreneurial kind of thing, which I believe. But what have you gone through that made you reflect of a self-repairing issue and made you so dominant in the direction you're going?
I've always known like I want to be successful. If anything at all, that was my dream, but I never knew where that was going to happen. I mean, even just with so many recent changes in the last 12 months, things have changed so much. For me, it was always just, it wasn't so much that like I want to be like an astronaut or I want to be successful
No,
this or I want
no.
to be, it was more like I want to be recognized as a person who was self-made and created a business and created some type of legacy for himself rather than just going to school and getting a normal job.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
sometimes you have to hit rock bottom, and I've done that a couple times. It's every time I fall though, I feel like the fall wasn't as hard as the last one. So maybe it's like that. It's like the old graph that they show, and it's like slowly getting climbing back up. Because I mean, everything that goes up comes down a little bit, but it's how hard you come down and bounce back up. And I mean, I've had a couple rough times in my life getting into trouble and having to spring
Yeah,
back
yeah,
up, and you know disappointing my family in certain choices and things that I made over the years and whatever. But,
yeah.
and I think that that's like, it's when you have the awareness level of your mistakes, you need to have that awareness, because if you're
There
not
you go, man.
aware, it's okay to make mistakes, but you need to be aware of them and you need to know what to do from them. Luckily for me, I've always had a very big focus and priority on health. So mental health, sleep, taking care of myself, exercising, like you said,
Amazing.
sports. I boxed for many years and I still apply a lot of that disciplinary uh, focus in my life. And I mean, I still wake up every day at 4:30, 5 o'clock and work out for absolutely no reason other than just myself. It's not like I'm trying to break any world records or
You
try to
Guinness
look like
record.
Arnold or anything like that. It's now it's just purely I want to be 85 and be able to hang out with my daughter, right? So
I honestly thought you were gonna be, then the next Mike Tyson. But I always looked up to you. You had that drive, especially through the circumstantial evidences that we've been through in our households growing up. And so that's why I'm kind of emphasizing that these dreams were pulled away from us in due traumatic circumstances. You know what I mean? But you never allowed anyone to see that side of you. And that's core strength right there. But nonetheless, what stopped you from becoming who you are? Like, what would have stopped you?
I don't think I won't use the word stop, because nothing has stopped me up to this point. Nothing
Yeah.
will stop me. Things have definitely paused the process. Things have kind of, made things, slow things down. But again, that's me. It's right. It's me taking risks sometimes that weren't so calculated, getting into trouble, doing things, making decisions that I later on know that, definitely paused my success. But I'm also a very, very big believer in things happen for a reason, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very cliche and cheesy. People say that, but every single negative or unfortunate circumstance I've run into in my life, I've always been this person that finds that silver lining. That's like, that this happened for a reason, or this
Yeah. Yeah.
came out of that, right? And being able to find the good in every shitty situation, I think, has been one of my biggest skills in life. And it's not to sit there and dwell over the the bad part about it, but what change
Yeah.
came from this, right? It's very rare that something bad happens that like no good comes from it. It's hard to find that sometimes. But I think that that's probably one of my greatest qualities and skills in on being an entrepreneur, is just being able to bounce back up all the time, right?
The lessons that are involved in every circumstance, like life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Yes, I
And the
love that
level of
saying.
yeah. Yeah.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge saying. I love that one, man. Actually, that's one of my favorites. It's things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Yeah, I love it.
And I know we discussed about not going too deep, but your rock bottoms or your rock bottom, how many have you had? Did you have one rock bottom? And like, cause bro, our mountains, I've seen
Yeah.
you climb mountains and you're just always so composed. I'm emphasizing this, but for the viewers, the people that know you're really strong. And I want them to know that you're still human, man, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
that composure. You always have a business sense. You always have a very direct sense. So how about you lighten the curve and let us know, like, yeah, my rock bottom was a little tough, but here's what I did. Lessons are as such, and the decisions we make is what defines our character, right?
Yeah, I mean, at a young age, I did some stupid things, and things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that definitely delayed my progress, and had to get myself, kind of put things back up and rebuild my life a little bit. Nothing serious, but enough to make myself have to really rethink what I was doing with my life and hanging around with the wrong people. But being surrounded with family and good friends and people that
Yeah,
believe in you is such an important part. And that's like, it takes me back to when bad things do happen, being able to find the good in them. And instead of focusing and dwelling on the mistakes you made and whatever you've done, it's, you got to look for the good, So it's, if your
yeah,
family's
yeah.
helping you out and you're, all the positives in your life and being able to take it from there. Going into debt, that's a bad one. Like, I mean, it, hurts. Like, it's a hard one to admit to yourself that you screwed up, but bouncing back from all those types of things, and just even little things. I mean, fallouts from friendships, starting a business with my friends and then having that whole relationship fall and crumble, like, I mean, long time. I mean, I tried to start a business 10 years ago with my best friend and it didn't go, never flew. And then on top of it, I lost my friendship with him. So, these things are hard to deal with when you're trying to build yourself up in life. But, I feel like I've got to a point though, like I'm not afraid to fall anymore. Cause I feel like when I do, I know how to get back up and I'm not going to fall as deep as I've fallen the other times. It's just a matter of that whole, like, that graph, right?
And like that if something is going sideways, is to redirect you into something positive or to something even stronger or more worth it. And I'm sorry, but I didn't think those were your rock bottoms. I think your first rock bottom was cow tipping with us, and the second rock bottom was exactly that, like the building a business with friends. And I'd like to touch on that aspect because I firmly believe you can't build a business with friends, but you
No.
can build friends through business. And like that must have been such a sound lesson. And
Yeah,
that's what
probably
I
one of
would
my
believe would be the
biggest,
rock bottom.
definitely one of my, that one was like an emotional rock bottom, right? Like it was,
Yeah, 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 that's what I
and that's
mean.
just it. Yeah. And, I mean, obviously not being able to get the business off the ground was hard, but I think admitting that I really fucked up and lost my friend at the same time was probably equally as hard. And this wasn't just any friend. I mean, this was a guy I hung out with since grade 9. He was one of my best friends. We hung out right through high school, same group of friends, everything, and had to make that decision. And it wasn't even just on business. We were just both kind of going down different paths in life and everything. Um, but again, like you said, I mean, man, if we're talking about most valuable business lessons, damn, that was probably one of the best. Like, I'll never ever get into business with any of my friends or family, and just for that exact reason, unless, and even if I did, it would involve some serious stipulations. Like when we started the business, we had no contracts in place, we had no nothing. It was just like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna take over the world, we're gonna be so successful, and
That's
and then
right.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden those conversations and the things start to scale and money comes into picture and you raise money. We had investors coming in and all these different things, and that's when things you start to notice why people are in it and what they're in it for, and what their
Yep.
real ambition is.
True
I was
colors.
always willing. I'm that type of guy, man. I'm willing to lose it all to get it all. And it's interesting because I'm not even a gambler. Like I don't gamble at all. People would think like that mentality, like that's a gambler. But for me, I have no control. And that's why I don't gamble, because you can't control. It is true gambling to me, and it's, for me, I like to take my risks in the real world, I guess, with doing like with business and things like that. But yeah, man, like that was definitely a hard one. Like that was, but it was more than just a business fall. It was an emotional fall too, right?
And that, this is what the garage talk is all about, is to how to sustain your lesson and be congruent with the repairing side of it. And I do believe there's going to be some reconciliation there, right? Like hindsight's always 2020. You don't see that answer yet. But who did you have to become after that? You know what I mean?
Who?
Because there's a different direction, but still in the same the same alignment, but you became somebody completely different. Tell
Yeah,
me
I
about
mean, a
that.
lot of, yeah, I guess there were a lot of things that were happening at that same time. I mean, I met my
Yeah.
wife and became a dad like 6 years ago. So a lot of that was, a lot of that happened all at the exact same time. Even my falling out with like the friends and then becoming a dad, like literally all happened on the same year. So I guess some of that, it was my own mental shift was happening. Cause even now, like I look back at this friend and I wouldn't even be friends with him now because of the path that he has taken. Right. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
when you look at that and it's like, we wouldn't even really be that much, still tons of respect for the guy, but like you start to realize you're like, man, like, we just wouldn't even be able to be friends right now. I mean, I wish him all the best. Obviously, it's not. I wish no wrong to anybody. But again, one of those life lessons. I mean, that one's like probably one of the best. I could talk all day about that one business lesson itself, because
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time. I mean, I think about the business. I think about the friend. I think about the money. I think about everything that's, and having to, I would almost say that that one emotionally probably hit me harder than even like fucking up as a young teen or an older teen and young in my 20s and doing stupid shit. And, like I felt like I could recover easier from those things than admitting it was like, man, not only did I lose my business venture, but I lost my best friend at the same time. And I've let down my friends and my family. And so, yeah, like that one was probably almost equally when it comes down to like the bottom, hitting rock bottom. um, but
That's where I was going with that. Yeah. Yeah. And then you've always bounced back really, really well. And I think this one is going to be another one. We can touch on that, but you're my dog. You've been my best man, my best friend. No circumstance would ever separate that from us. That's always been my promise to you. Has success changed the way you think about your family, though? Because this was a big
that's
one.
a
This
tough
was a
one. That's
big
a tough
one,
one to answer because
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've actually reached the point of success that I want to reach yet. But then again, that's also taught me in life to stop and
The journey.
actually appreciate some of the smaller milestones, in life. I just becoming a dad and having a little girl, which I never pictured myself being a girl dad,
Me
and
neither.
and
Holy.
seeing the emotional
Yeah.
connection that I have with her and how much she loves me and adores me is validation for me to know that I have a heart. First of all, I'm a sensitive
Yeah.
guy, right? Like
But
I
you never
I
showed that, dude.
yeah,
You're always so strong. You're like, nope, I ain't getting no feel about this. That was
yeah,
strength because and I always ran my shit with emotions. And you always pinned me back down. Like, the heart's the greatest deceiver, bro. And you let me know that. In me personally, you've allowed me to grow so strong. And this is nice to see that. I see you as a father, man. It's changed your life. You see a different perspective. You stop and smell the roses. Dude, it's beautiful. And I would love to tell you right now that that is life right there. That I see you, you're successful. You're successful. So don't ever let any other mirror tell you different, bro.
thanks,
Right?
man. No, I mean, I definitely see myself as successful in the sense of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
life, in that sense, and love and family and stuff like that. Money is a driving force for a lot of us, and it's we live in a economy's crazy nowadays, so you want to make sure we've got a retirement plan. But having those small milestones, reaching them along the way, makes getting to that top of the ladder a lot easier. And I feel like I'm on my way there. The any falls I take now are quickly bouncing, and like you said, I've got a great support system, and the lessons I've learned along the way have created a bit of a cushion at the bottom of that fall, right? So it's
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the future, man. I think I'm at a point in my life now where I'm actually looking forward to the future more than I ever have. It's not as foggy as it was, and I've got great direction.
Right. Right. I gotta mention I completely flushed my old life. And so you want to talk about losing connections, losing friends, that I'm still suffering through that. But on the other side of the spectrum, I feel like that's not the direction you took. It happened through business, but it's still a wholesome track, right? From creativity, from all the way from your clothing store. It was always a solid upscaling track. And I just absolutely love that. And that's, if we're going to take away anything for our audience, that's what it is. Have one vision and just go with the direction, because it'll take you different turns. And sometimes the long way around is the easiest path, or it's the most beneficial path. And that's what I see in you. You're taking all the punches, and that's probably all that training, the boxing training. You're able to take that hit and just get back up. Now, would that be the message that you want to leave our young men from this community? Like, what would you have to tell our audience today?
Find that support system in your life and believe in them. Um, don't let the falls take you down, and they will, but there's always someone there that loves you, and sometimes it comes in disguise, sometimes it doesn't, it's not even the people that you expect it to be. But don't try not to stay alone, you know what I mean? Don't think that you're always alone, and there's no shame in getting help at all.
Amazing, dude. Amazing. And that's absolutely my point, man. Is like, we will fight for the isolation, not knowing why we're actually going through it. And then because of our stubbornness as men, we're just gonna be like, I got this, I got this. And so, to finally, like, do you have a certain legacy you want to leave to your family? Like, what does that look like? Because I know there's aspirations of just living
Just
in.
build a successful business, man. Just to build a successful business. That's all.
Yeah,
And be a good father and a good husband.
man, there's nothing missing. There's nothing missing, bro. You know, Danny, thank you so much for joining us, man. I could talk your ear off. I had
Likewise.
a huge, I had a huge itinerary. I didn't take into consideration of the time slot. I thought it was
let's
just
do let's do a part two. Let's do a part two, okay?
yeah. Let's do a part two, man. Because I had to pick and choose the
Yeah,
direction real quick. I was like, oh man,
no
this is a
worries.
challenge. But there's lots of love coming from this end. And don't stop teaching, because you never know who's watching.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
Really.
you having me on the show, and looking forward to seeing the cuts.
Only the best ones. Only the best ones.
Awesome,
Thank you
dude.
so much for joining the lounge. We will be scheduling a part two. We are going to be going into certain different directions. This episode was mainly about a quick down to a quick up. And this is the man that really knows how to get to the up part. Now, if you're looking for any of his services, this man's a consultant. He'll find you knowledge in lead generation, cold callings, and whatever. How can my audience get in touch with you if they really want to talk to you?
You can check us out on our website, theonlyconsultants.com. You can reach me directly on there, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Danny Gibson. I don't think there's too many of us, but just look for the bald guy with the big smile.
Never quit smiling, my guy. And thank you so much for joining us once again. We'll be in
Thanks, buddy.
touch.
Love you, man.
You're very welcome, man. Love you.
Take care, bro.
Take care, dude. Hey, once again, guys, thank you so much for joining this Garage Talk episode. It was an absolute pleasure. Now, Dan and I obviously went way back, and my other guests as well. I already knew them from the past. Everything they've had in common is they have the same dream of being successful, working for themselves, and changing the world one life at a time. And that's what we stand for here at Datitudes Power Sports. So if something in today's conversation challenged you, encouraged you, or reminded you that you have a support system, that you're not alone, then this conversation was worth having. Remember, we don't all share the same story, but we all carry something that potentially needs repairing. Until next time. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and never stop becoming the person you were created to be. I'm Jano Martineau, and this is the Datitude Lounge. I'll see you in the next Garage Talk. this conversation added any type of value to your life, consider joining our community, this channel, by subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. Every week, we pull up another chair and continue the conversation. Until next time, keep repairing what matters most.